All right. Welcome to the 2021 Virtual Christmas Summit brought to you by Boscoyo Studio. This presentation is sponsored by RGB Sequences. Please remember to not unmute yourself or interrupt the presenter. Feel free to put any questions or discussion you have in the chat, and we will open up to Q&A at the end. This session is Stupid Easy xLights Sequencing for Beginners Part 2, presented by John Storms. This is going to be a continuation of the previous session that covers sequencing basics so people can make good sequences without getting bogged down in advanced features. And we're going to pick up where we left off with completed timing tracks.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so now we're actually going to start in on the sequencing. Everything I'm going to do here, in the order that I'm doing it, is in the slides, broken into step-by-step instructions. So you can go through the tutorial at your own pace. I find that for me, I learn best if I actually get in there and do it. And some things I get right away, other things I take forever on. This allows you to work it at your own pace, right? And I find if I can like get an example and am able to reproduce the example, then after that, I got a pretty good feel for it. And that's really what we're shooting for here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to focus in on this intro. So let me go all the way to the beginning and zoom in a bit. So we're here at this bump, bump, bump. So again, this is leading into the show. We're creating a story. I don't want to show the monster right away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here to my trees. I have a tree line of 13 trees in the front. And what we're going to do is we're going to have these trees kind of turn on in pattern. Okay. Barry said he doesn't like hard edges. Sorry, Barry. These are hard edges all the way. This song is just full of hard edges. Bump, 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 bump. There's no fade, right? It's just on, on, on. So, I'm going to kind of match that up. So I'm going to start off with yellow because that's part of my color scheme. And I'm going to have the first and last tree come on at the same time and go off at the same time. And I'm just using a regular old on effect. Okay. And, I got 3 beats here, really 4 with and so let's see, because it's
Jingle.
yeah, so I'm gonna have the lights come on like this, and I want them to stay on a little bit. So I really have, 3 beats that I'm having come on. So and I have 13 trees. And you get this all the time. My number of props don't add up to the number that I need. So I'm gonna do 2 of the yellows, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the next 2 trees in blue, right? And notice if I have blue and yellow checked at the same time, the on effect only takes the first one. So it gives you lots of opportunities to be easy. And actually, you know what? I need to do 3 each or else I'm going to have too many. Now I have 3 left. So now I come down to here and I am going to do this one in purple. Okay. Because purple is also in my color palette. And I'm going to stay true to the color palette as much as I can. And that will kind of help define this song. So now I just highlight all 3 of these. I can go up here, pick purple, always pick the same purple, and hit update, and it updates all 3 of them. So now, if I look at my house preview,
Jingle.
see, now I got those bums, 13 trees. See, lots of anything is cool. All right. So now I'd like to usually get the intro down. Obviously, that's a super easy intro, but that's why we picked the song. Um, for this song, the whole way through, it's gonna be a little bit flashy. So what I'm gonna do to tone it down is I'm gonna have my outline kind of doing a marquee, where the lights go around following each other. So for that, I'm gonna grab the single strand effect, which if you've been paying attention to the other sequencing things, is highly used. And of course, single strand in the icon has 2 strands, right? No one's ever filed that as a bug, but they really should, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have this go pretty much from the intro all the way to before the very end. So at the very end, which I'm calling the sprinkles, I'm going to just keep pulling this guy over. I could zoom out, but I'm lazy. Pull this all the way over to here. All right, this is the sprinkles. Why? Listen, see, sprinkles. It just sounds like sprinkles, maybe sparkles, but sprinkles sticks. Okay, so I come into here and I have this single strand, and I'm going to select the skip thing. A lot of people have talked about this. There are entire videos on single strand. Okay. My goal is not to make you an expert on anything, but to get you to the point where you feel comfortable doing some sequencing. I see purple and yellow. I just want yellow because I kind of like that, old movie sign look of a chasing. And I want this to be, stepping up. I'm just going to put this up to 100, and you see how this goes. Doot, 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 doot. And so now I get this nice little staggered effect where they're chasing each other around. But it doesn't look quite right. See that? It's clumpy, and I don't want it to be clumpy. So what I need to do, these are horizontal lines. And when they get loaded into the render buffer, it's really complicated. But basically, this is a horizontal element. So I come up to render style and I say, just render this as a horizontal stack. Okay. And look at that. Now it's beautiful. And I'm just going to have it do that the whole song. It's only 26 seconds long. And it kind of helps stabilizes, some flashiness. Okay. Now, I want something to keep the beat. Okay. So, before we showed where we were going along with the beats. Okay. I have little side trees on either side of the house that are still regular white lights. Okay. So what I'm going to do is going to go to lyrics.
Here, let me go get you a new one. Let me get you one that's cold. I'll be right back.
Oh, that's Keith. Yeah, we all got kids. All right. So I'm going to take the VU meter. I'm going to take it down to side trees. And I'm going to do this also from the end of Bum Bum Bum, which is actually right here. And I'm going to run this out basically all the way to the end again. Okay. All the way. Oops, I lost the end. There it is. All the way to the end. Okay. And I set this to white. Why? Because they're incandescent lights. All right. And incandescent lights, if it flashes white, the incandescent white means on. And I'm going to set this to type timing event color. And I'm going to tell it to go off of beats. Right. So now if I play that, you can see that the side trees, and those are obscured. The other one's obscured by my two big trees, which is real life true. You can't see anything through those guys. But they'll keep the beat. Batman smells Robin laid an egg. On, off, on, off, on. I did it, and that's exactly how I want it to go. Okay. Actually, I have yellow checked. Let me try it this way. Batman smells now it's just on. Let me alternate it with Batman smells Robin laid an egg. That should be doing something different. Whenever xLights does something and you're not sure why, hit the render button. Have it re-render, compile what you're doing, because it kind of renders as you go. And let me see if this is still doing what I want it to do. Nope. All right, well, let me force it. I'm going to say do it like this. And that differs from my notes a little bit. So I'm going to have to, I know why. I know. It's not because I'm supposed to, it's because this is timing event pulse. I want it to pulse with every beat. When you say change color, what it's doing is every time the beat hits, it changes color to what? White. What was it? White. It's on all the time. So by pulse, Batman smells Robin laid an egg. Now they're going with beat. See, doing it live, you get to see real live problem resolution, right? And if it gets really bad, I'll even try calling the Zoom room. Oh, but it's being used by something else, so that won't help. Anyway, that's keeping the beat. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to come back down to our tree line. So this is my tree line. This is a group that represents the entire tree line. If I double click on it, it'll actually pop up each individual tree. Okay, all 13 of them. So I'm going to collapse that for now, just so it's not so scary. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to address these other bum bum bums, right? So there's a bum 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 here, and then there's a bum 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 here. Oh, there's not a bum 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 there. That's a hey. The bum 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 is over here. Okay. So For these bombs, what we're going to do is we're going to use a single strand effect, which has double strands in the icon, which there's a problem with that, but not, it's only cosmetic. Okay, to use the lingo. We're going to stretch this across all the bum notes. Okay, you can see right now it's turned white on us. Okay, now for this, I'm going to say I want to use my color scheme, which is purple, which is already there, purple. Then I want blue. I'm going to use the bright blue. And then yellow, right? My Batman colors. Okay. And I'm going to say I want my band size to be 4. Okay. And I'm going to have it advance 3 times. Why? Because I have 3 bumps. Just like that. Okay. And then I'm going to take that. And this is going left. I'm going to go to the other bum, copy, paste, right? So I paste it here. Oh, it didn't fit. Now I can stretch it over, but note what I should have done is pasted by cell instead of by time because the timing is a little different. Either that or I read it wrong. Now here, to keep it interesting, the last one went left. This one's going to go right. Okay. So people see this over here. And then over here, it goes the other direction. Okay, these are minor things, right? But you know, the bums is something that stands out in the show, and it's only 26 seconds long, so you don't have a lot of time. Okay, now in the middle we have the hey, right, which we all know is the most important part of this song. So that definitely is a fader, right? So I'm going to have the start intensity at 100, the end intensity at 0. And I'm going to set this to yellow so it kind of pops, and this will happen on the tree line. So let's make sure it looks right. Okay, that looks very nice. Okay, so that's the hey. And again, all of these steps are mapped out in the slides, right? And I'm following them to be true. So now we're still working on the tree line. What we're going to do is we're going to fill in. I like working on element by element. If there's an element of the show that I think is really going to be the focus of that show, I'll do that first, right? And I've always liked the trees. So, you know, the trees are a favorite. I have 2 groups here, tree line odd, tree line even. And basically odd number trees are in one, even number trees in the other. I find this a useful grouping if I'm trying to do every other thing. There's a lot of ways to do it in xLights, but for me, this way I like. So I'm going to get the VU meter, and I'm going to drop it in here over odd. Okay, and I'm going to tell it to use the timing event color, right? So every time the timing event hits on beats, right, colors are going to change. And they're going to alternate between blue and yellow. Okay, so these trees, you can see every other tree is flashing between blue and yellow. Now I'm going to copy this, Control C, Control V, and I'm simply going to come up here. I'm going to alternate the color. So I leave yellow where it is, get another blue, and do that. So now when I play this, the Batmobile lost the wheel and Joker. Again, there's a lot of ways to do it. I found that to be the easiest way. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to replicate this through various parts through the song until I get to the ending. Right. So I come over here, adjust these. I saw Ron doing Control R, Control Left if you have timing snapping enabled. And that's a cool new trick I learned this time. Okay, and then at the beginning, Control V. If you do Control V and it doesn't work, it's usually because it won't fit, and we gotta work at it a little bit. And let's see, and then we also do it here. See, I'm just taking, so we do that effect once, and then we apply it in a bunch of places. Okay. And I'm going to have this go until we get to the right before the way part. See, this is why I like having the lyrics up here, because for me, it gives me good landmarks for the song. All right. So let's take a look at what we got so far. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. See, we're cranking right along. It's starting to look like a song. All right. So now let's go to the next element that's really going to stand out here. And these are the mega trees, or I call them mega trees. In my layout, I got these two big trees in the front yard. There's always been a pain in the butt because they keep growing and I trim them and they grow back even fuller and nicer, more beautiful. And I wish they would just die. And they completely obscure the show. And you can hardly even see the poor little cactus in the back anymore. But that's okay. This tree died in a snowstorm. So that's where the cactus is going now. But anyway, I set these up like mega trees and they look like crap this year because in the process of getting my steel bar up there, I dropped it on both of my kids. One of them had to go to the ER, yada, yada, yada. Wife was pissed, but we got it up anyway. Anyhow, I call these my mega trees. So we're going to sequence those next. And what we're going to use for these is we're going to use the spiral effect. Okay. And this is going to follow basically the same pattern like we did with the tree line because we're still focusing on the bum bum bums. That's really what kind of breaks up the music from being just like one long pattern. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I got my spiral effect here and I am going to set this up with three colors. I'm going to have it as blue, yellow, and purple. Okay, and that's what I have for the spiral. And you know, you kind of look at it, it's like, yeah, that's a decent spiral. And I actually got it on the wrong thing. I want it one layer up. So this is mega tree or trunk. So now they're both going. Now, right now the default is it takes that whole effect and it renders across the entire group, which is both mega trees, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say do it as per model default. That means each model in that group apply the effect individually and watch what happens. Boom. See, completely different. So it looks different. And this is the look I'm going for. So what if you can visualize in your head what you want, it's just a matter of making xLights do it. Okay. See, but the only problem is it's a wee bit fast. All right. So I wanna slow this down a little bit. It's too much. How do I slow this down? Come on. Spiral wraps, no. It's not the thickness. It's got to be in the movement. There we go. It's not too bad. Let's try 0.1. Too slow. And you just, you know, some things you want it to be absolutely perfect. Other things, you know, you can just eyeball it. Yeah, it's a good speed right there. All right, now I'm going to copy that. All right, copy and paste to your friend. Control C to copy. And skip over the hay. And do Control V. And let's see, let's get it lined up. And let's have it go the other direction. So if movement was 0.4 before, this time we're going to do minus 0.4, just have it go the other direction. And hey, just for grins, we'll have that whole thing go with the hay too. Okay. All right. So that kind of covers the bum bum bums. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do like we did before, we're going to fill in the middles. Okay, but the middles we're going to do apply to the left and right trees individually. So it's the mega tree with the trunk. The trunk is a cool 600 pixel matrix in addition to the mega tree that's on top. I thought it was kind of a clever way to incorporate, you know, a live tree into the display. All right, so now I'm going to bring it in here. Obviously, I'm going to have it start from here instead of from way, you know, I'm not going to have it bleed into, no, actually I am. I'm going to have it start up right there. Okay, and this one, we are going to have follow the color pattern, blue, yellow, and purple. And you can save your color palette, but you know, I'm lazy. I'm not doing it. And you're like, that looks like throw up. That's because it's doing the waveform. Thank you, Effect Assistant. Call you later. I am going to set this to be timing event color. And we are going to go off of beats. By the way, the Storms 2015 Batman Smells is actually pulled in from the old Lightorama sequence when we did this tutorial for Lightorama sequencing. So anybody who has nostalgia for that kind of stuff, you have problems. Okay, so we'll put this here. Both of them doing the same thing, to me is kind of boring. So you know what? We're just going to switch this up a little bit. Instead of being blue, yellow, purple, we're going to make it purple, blue, yellow. The trick being we just don't want them to be the same color at the same time.
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
See? Less boring. I mean, it's Batman smells, so it's not an artistic achievement. But like I said, that's not what we're going for. That's Ron's class. That's Barry's class. My class is how do we get you up and functional so that you can then explore and pick up all that really cool stuff on your own over time, right? And basically, we repeat it here. And guess what? It takes care of itself. Why? Because it's the VU meter. I don't have to even think about it. It does. It self sequences. And that's what I didn't get to listen to Keith's presentation yesterday, but that's a lot of partly of what he was talking about. And xLights, you could go. I could sit in and do the on effect on and off for each one of those things manually, but this is so easy, right? And if I want to add another color, I don't have to like change the world. I just go and add another color and re-render, right? And so that's the trick with xLights is there's lots of ways to do things, but there's typically a way that will help you and a way that will eat a lot of your time. And sequencing can chew through your time. Okay, I don't measure quality of a sequence by how long it took to do it. I have some very simple sequences that took no time at all. I have some really crappy sequences I spent forever on. It varies. Okay, there we go. We just did the mega trees. Okay, now let's take a look at, so that's kind of the basic stuff. That just holds the display together through the song. Now we're going to start doing some more fun stuff. So in my layout, I have some groups I call special, right? I have special arches G1 or bottom, okay? And this is a group that has all of the snowflakes that are going over my garage, and I call them an arch, right? And they are in order. So if I were to go follow the bouncing arch, that's the order that they show up in my group, okay? So in the slide, I got a little cat saying, I am not an arch, right? You're not an arch, but you look like one, and we're going to make you look like one. So we come up here, special arches bottom, and we're going to start this from after the bomb 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 intro into hey. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab yet again the single strand effect. Are you guys picking up that there's repetitiveness here? All right. And so let's grab that, and we're going to stretch that all the way up to hey. So actually when I say bomb bomb bomb, I meant this bomb bomb bomb. Right. We're not showing the monster right the monster right away. All right. We waited a little bit. And we're looking at these two arches, and dang, they look like crap, right? So I want them to be these colors. This is my colors, but I need to tweak this a little bit. So the number of chases I want is 1, but you know what? I need to make the chase size a little bit bigger. First of all, I don't want to be on skips. I want to be on chase. So there's the chase. Well, that doesn't look very archy, does it? No. Well, first of all, let's make the chase a little bit bigger. So let's make this like 20. Okay. So now it's bigger, but it still doesn't look great. Well, I want it to bounce, but arches bounce, right? So I'm saying this bounce in from the left, and yep, still doesn't look like an arch. So it's like, oh, what do I got to do to make this look like an arch? Well, what you do is you come up to render style. Render style is your friend. So I can say, hey, treat this. Think of, I'm going to say xLights. Think of this model, right? My arches model as a single line. And look, now it's looking like an arch, but you look what each snowflake is doing. It's going through pixel by pixel in each one of those, right? And it's like, oh, I don't want that. So I come down and I say single line model as a pixel. So it's going to treat each model as if it was one pixel. So they all do the same thing, like they were dumb RGBs, right? Boom. Now it looks like an arch. Okay. So now he's bouncing. And that's the power of the render style under layer settings. Okay, so now it's really just a matter of speeding it up so it looks about right. So that's way too slow. Let's try 3. Batmobile lost 5. The Batmobile lost. Whoa, that's way too fast. So let's see. This is from after. So let me. Actually, you know what? I'm going to have this go from the intro bombs. And now if I do 5, that looks better.
Laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel.
Now, I'm never going to get this to go with the beat. Why? Because my arches are different sizes, right? So not even going to try. This is just for fun. Okay. All right. Unless I make the arches move at different speeds for different arches, but that gets complicated and it looks weird. Okay. So let me pull back on the house here and I'm looking at it.
Jingle bells, Batman smells,
Yeah.
Rob.
That's okay, but it needs something else, right? The house itself, the upper part of the house needs to be doing something. It's a little bit too dark. So, we're gonna do a little bit of filler here. So what I'm gonna do is I have house center windows, which are basically 3 of these Ice Princess high definition props on the windows, which I'm sure people will be very disappointed to find out I don't actually do the submodels on those. I know, I'm bad, but it's not my style, right? It's a different style. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna need multiple layers. So I insert an extra layer and I'm gonna go get me the shockwave effect. All right, shockwave effect is a lot of fun. And I'm gonna put it up on top and I'm gonna make it so its color is just white. All right, so we're gonna get rid of these other colors, right? And it's just these 3 windows right here. Zoom in on that a little bit. Okay. And what it's doing is it's doing this little explosion thing, but right now it's really too small, right? And you can't see it very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this second radius so that that explosion goes further, right? And you can either use a slider bar or you can type in the number. So I'm going to make that about 50, right? And then the same thing with the width. Actually, let's make that a little bigger, not 100. And then the width, kind of get it out there about the same. All right. And it's like, yeah, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, go up here again, and I'm going to say per model default. See, now each of the models is doing its own thing, which is what I want, right? And I want it to do this with the beat. So I am just going to replicate this, right, until I get to the, now I would definitely want this pace mode to be by cell. So before I did it by time, it didn't line up. When you do it by cell, it fills the entire cell. Or if you're copying 2 cells, it will fill 2 cells. All right, and we're gonna go up to hay, which happens to line up with the beat marks pretty good. And where they don't line up, it's probably my deficiency, right? So we look.
Jingle bells, Batman smells.
Okay, now the only thing is white's boring. I'm not really planning on being white. So we bring in the handy dandy VU meter again. Terribly useful thing. Effects assistant, once again, don't need your help. Bye. And here we're going to do timing event color. And we're going to pick our colors to be not white, but purple, blue, yellow. And that's it. Okay. And so now you can see they're purple and white. So actually, what I want to do, I'm going to delete all of these guys. All right, I'm going to click on this and I'm going to come into layering. Ron talked about layering in great detail, and layering works from the bottom up. It's rendered reverse of what your models are. And so here I'm going to say that 1 is the unmask. Remember, we talked about mask. 1 is basically like the spray paint pattern you're spraying through. And what am I spraying through? The colors, right? So this thing is, and it's using the wrong timing of it. It's supposed to use beats. Okay. So now the shock wave follows the color. So now I need to go back and put these guys back in. Boom, boom, boom. Control V, Control V. If I have like a ton of these, I'll go and like copy 4 or 5 of them and make it go faster, but there's not that many. So now when we go through,
Jingle bells,
see?
Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
Why isn't it changing colors right? Timing event color. These are my colors. I have it set to beats, right? And these are all set up to, 1 is unmask. Let me re-render. Whenever in doubt, re-render. I can re-render a section by highlighting it and rendering the selected section. And now let's see.
Jingle bells, Batman
Now it's
smells,
right.
Robin laid an egg.
See, now it's doing the right thing. All right. So that looks good there. I also want to put it on my wreaths, which are on the side. There's also one on the front door. So I just come up here, Control C, Control V, and
Jingle
now they're all
bells,
doing,
Batman smells, Robin laid an egg.
including the front door.
The Batmobile.
See, so that's a little bit more interesting. Okay, moving right along. Let's do another arch. So you saw I have the arches bottom. I also have the arch for the house. This is pretty cool. So this one, we're going to start up after the hay, right? And this also is going to be a single strand, which we pull from the double strand icon. And this is going to go from hay until the lost and lost a wheel.
The Batmobile lost the.
Right here. Okay. And you see that? It's already trying to do it there. And it's doing it in white, but we don't want white. We're going to have it do our color palette here. We're going to make the chase size a little bit bigger. Okay. We're going to do the thing where it bounces in from the left. Okay. Then remember, like last time, we're going to come in here and we're going to have it rendered as a single line model as a pixel. See, most of these are just combinations, right? So I want it to be single line and I want it to be pixel. So I look for the one where it has both of those, right? So I want single line pixel. Right now it's doing the right thing. Now it's just a matter of speed. And again, I just created a group with those snowflakes in that order, right? Now, I am the Boscoyo poster child, right? I love their snowflakes. We got a lot of their snowflakes. Great stuff. See, and now look at that. I got an arch that goes across the whole house. I don't have a single arch out in the yard, but I got arches built in, right? It's awesome. So
Hey, jingle bells,
it's kind of the opposite of a submodel. It's almost like a supermodel, right? Supermodels in my display. I like
hey,
that.
jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid
Now,
an egg.
this one, I would like to go with the beat, right? So the beats here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So I'd like to go this back and forth 10 times. And since it's bouncing, that I cut that in half, and now it should be
Hey,
with the beat.
jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile.
See, now it goes with the beat. That easy. Okay. Let's do another one. Okay, so let me go do another one on the bottom. But this one we're gonna start with, let's see, Robin laid an egg. We're gonna pick it up here. Right, and the reason we add it and take away is we're keeping it interesting for the user. Okay, and this is gonna go up to Joker.
The wheel and the Joker.
Okay, so this is the Joker, and we're gonna do basically the same thing, single line as a model, and let's slow you down. So let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so bouncing from the left, let's call it 3.5. It's not gonna be perfect, but it's kind of close to the beat.
Egg. The Bat.
Way too fast. Let's call it 2.
The Batmobile lost
That's
the
better.
wheel and the.
Okay, so that's a little too fast. The next thing in the tutorial, we go in there and we're going to focus on the deer. I'm going to skip over that for the interest of time. Why? Because I think my deer are really boring. I mean, they got pixels on everything, but typically I have the deer do something similar as my tree line. Why? Because they're both in the foreground. Okay. If we have time, we'll come back and do the deer. But a lot of it is presenting similar concepts to things that we already did on the tree, right? So I don't want to focus on it too much. I want to get into some cooler stuff, okay? And now we're kind of starting some of the intermediate portions, okay? This isn't pure beginner. Again, it's not so much trying to make you a great sequencer. It's trying to expose you to enough through the tutorial that from there you have enough framework to go and explore on your own. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have Batman lose a wheel. Okay, so for this one, I'm going to use my house model, and let's go find the Batmobile lost a wheel.
Egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel in a
Okay, so we're going to come right about here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to make a wheel. Okay, now wheels are phenomenally easy because they are circles. So I pull down the shape effect, right? And we're going to have this, let's see.
lost the wheel in a Joker. Mobile lost the wheel. Lost the wheel.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll start it a little bit sooner.
The Batmobile lost the wheel in a Joker.
All right, so we're going to have it go through about here. Okay. But that's going to be in the way of the house, right? So maybe I start it here. Yes. Okay, because the effects will kind of bleed into each other. All right, so if you're looking at the house, you see little circles trying to pop up everywhere. So we say, whoa, 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 whoa. Get rid of the random initial shape sizes. I want it to be a big wheel. Now the wheels are everywhere. How thick do I want them to be? Well, you know, wheels are solid. And so it's like, oh, it still hurts. Okay. No more random location. No more fade away. So now I got this wheel going. Da, 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 da. Okay. And why is it changing colors? I don't know. All right. Probably because up here. All right. And I don't want you to change colors like that. So let's just get you down to white. Okay. Start size is this. Growth. Why are you flashing? I missed something. Count. Well, let's get you down to 1. I only need 1 wheel. I got the thickness right. It's because I don't have any growth. Too much growth. Okay, I see. So you got to look at the numbers, negative to whatever. And I want this at 0. I don't want my wheel to grow. I want it to be static. Okay. And it's a little too big. Okay. Now it's a little too high. So I can come over here and Y, I can say lower it, see, with the slider bar. And let's bring the center over to here because this is where we're going to start it. And it's still a little big, so let's tweak the size down just a little bit more. Bring the X over. See, that looks really cool. And so the X, so it starts at 33. I want the wheel to move. These little green arrows mean you can do value curves. So instead of having a single value in here, you can have it follow an equation, right? So you pick one that looks close, and there's lots more than what are shown. And I want it to start at 33 because that's where that X value started. And I know that my display goes out to about 89. Okay. And see, now the wheel moves. Oh, that is awesome. Okay. Now I don't have this in the tutorial, but you know, if you wanted the wheel to bounce a little bit to make it look more like a wheel, we can come down here and we can pick a different kind of curve, like a let's see, parabolic up. Parabolic down. Yeah, that works fine. How many times we want it to bounce? Oh, let's see. Oh, this doesn't give me a nice smooth one. Okay, hang on. Let's go find something different. Let's just use this. And this is going to bounce a couple of times. And I'm just going to set the amplitude way, way low because I don't want it to be too bad. See, and now the wheel bounces. See, those value curves are the trick to the motion. Okay, so now I just want the colors to change as the wheel progresses. So I'm going to come down here, grab the color wash effect, and I'm just going to have it cycle through my color palette, right? And and you can tell it how many times you want it to go through, and you can see that that is not what we want it to do, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come onto here. And I'm going to say, click on this. I'm going to tell it the layering is not right. I want you to say 2 is the true unmask. So basically, it's like this is the color. The first layer is defining all the colors, and I want you to use the second layer as the unmask, to the big reveal, right? So that changes color as it goes.
Lost the wheel in a joke.
So that's pretty cool part. All right, so now let's get to this part.
The Joker got away.
All right, so the Joker got away. So we're leading into the end of the song, okay? And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna have the house reveal itself in stages. So I'm gonna come over here with the on effect and apply this to the house. And Barry went into this in great detail on the buffer yesterday, right? Really good presentation. Really recommend. So for this part here, I want to get about a quarter of the house, and I'm gonna have it come down from the top. So I'll say it's that's about a quarter. Okay. Now I'm gonna take this, and this is the display buffer, right? So this just represents a part of the screen. Again, it's another kind of a mask, and you say only show what is in the box. Okay, so the effect only goes that far, which is really cool. So I copy this, I bring it over here, right? And I'm going to change the color to blue because I want the color to be blue. So I just uncheck purple. Now it's blue. And I'm going to say now add a little bit more. So we're at about half the house right there, right? And then I copy it. See, this way I get the lines just right as I transition. And now I'm going to make it yellow. Okay. And now I pull this down so I get about 3/4. All right about there. And I take this one, copy it, pull it over. And this one is going to be back to purple. Yeah, if I had 4 colors in my palette, I would use it. But now I just make it so it's the full buffer. And voila, we play it through.
The Joker got away.
See, isn't that cool? It's super easy effect. Buffers are great thing to play with. And remember, in xLights, right click on everything. You'll be surprised what you find. You right click on this, you get a whole bunch of cool stuff you can do, right? Play with it, explore it. You'll have a good time. All right. Okay, so now let's do the away part. Okay, so for the away part, we're going to use Pinwheel. Love the Pinwheel. I actually try to avoid using the Pinwheel too much, but I can't help it. I just love it so much. So we're going to do the lyrics. We're going to get the Pinwheel, and we're going to drop it in right here. Okay, and we say, oh, let's see, let's give it the multiple colors. Let's make the arms thicker, right? Let's give them a nice twist. You know, maybe we could do 6 arms instead of 3. Okay, and then you know, so that's see, that's really good for those long hold notes. But you know, as they're holding it, their voice varies, you know, like opera singer type thing. So you can come in here and you can say, hey, you know what? Do the little bouncy thing you do, okay, for the X. And that'll make it go back and forth. And then you know what? Do the same thing for the Y. Do the little bouncy thing, right? For the Y. And now it moves. And the kids and people go nuts when the lights start moving. They're like, wow, that is so cool. And that's it for the way. Okay. So now we come over, we're getting to the end here. Okay. So we're going to do the ha-has. And the ha-has are the end, and it leads us into this long sprinkles effect. Okay. So what we're going to do here. Okay. First of all, ha-has that demand, I like, you know, doing the flash of the house because that's kind of a cool, and it demands that you do the ramps. Okay. So we do an on effect with end intensity at 0. We come over here, we pick our other color. I like the purple, so I'm going to do the purple. Okay. So it comes in and goes, but you're like, yeah, John, you're doing a demo here. It should be interesting. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull in the butterfly effect, right? This is the one that people really overuse, right? The butterfly effect. I mean, and you know, when Pixels first came out, it was butterfly effect, everything. Why? Because look at that. That's amazing. It just gets boring if you use it too much. But what we're going to do is we're going to tell it, you know what? Use the palette, right? I'm going to say Actually, let's just make it yellow, okay, for grids. And I'm going to add some background chunks here. And you see what happens when I add those background chunks? Now that's it kind of changed it up, the whole thing there. So that's actually pretty cool. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this and I'm going to extend it to the end of the show. Now, when you hear the sparkles, right? What are you thinking of? Something immediately comes to mind. Sometimes the songs just write themselves, and this is a really good case of that. You see Twinkle, okay? The whole reason I started Pixels is because I got 100 pixels for my cactus. I put the Twinkle effect on, and I absolutely fell in love with it. And the only reason I live to do Pixels just for Twinkle effect. So here we go, Twinkle. Number of lights, a lot. Okay, see, so now we got a lot of Twinkle. And it kind of comes in a little bit harsh, as Barry would say, right? Sharp. And this is a place where it actually could use a little bit of softening. So I'm going to insert a layer below here. I'm going to take the Twinkle, because what happens is this guy is fading out, and then all of a sudden you're hit with the twinkles. So I pull this guy in a little bit. I'm going to come into the in transition. I'm going to do the fade for about 0.2. Maybe 0.1. There we go. And then meet it halfway, right that. See, that's not nearly as harsh. Okay. Now those twinkles are pretty cool. I'm going to take that twinkle. Well, first of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to manual, and since I pulled it in a little bit, I'm going to give myself an extra mark here of where that twinkle starts, right there. Okay, so I got it. I hit copy. I come up here. I make sure I'm pasting by time. I'm going to come down to some other stuff. Actually, I'm going to say do this on all pixels. Okay, everything that's a pixel just went into twinkle mode. Full twinkle alert. See that? Very cool looking. We're not done yet. This is the reason why I skipped the deer, is so we could do this next effect. Okay, this effect is fun. Okay, so we are going to do a bat signal, right? And then if one of the neighbors dresses up like Batman, has a Batman mask, they could actually show up because the bat signal came out. So what we're going to do is on the house, we are going to apply another effect. Okay. And actually, you know what? I am going to put this under pixels as well. See, but now when I did this, the pixels are on top of my yellow, which I don't want because it renders bottom up, right? So I just need to switch these. I'm just doing the arrow up and down. I got this first. All right, now I got it going across the whole house. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the picture effect, and we are going to drop it right here. And when you see red, red means bad, right? It means we're doing something wrong. And in this case, it just means that we don't have a picture selected. This one I don't think I need to fade in. All right, so I need to go select a picture. The image is included with, if you go, it's included in the zip file with the sequence, okay? But you can use any image you like. And boom, we just popped in the image of the bat signal, right? So now I'm going to say scale, keep aspect ratio, right? And you can see the Batman image right there, but it's not very cool. So I say simply zoom in, and now it's a totally different thing. So let's watch the ending. See? And there's the Batman effect. So we get the bat signal at the very end. All right, so now we've done everything except for the deer. We're at the 10-minute mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the finished version, which has the deer, and just play it through. Wow, did you see that? I didn't save that once that whole time. That is so bad. Okay, so now I have the actual effect. This up. Gonna move this. And I learned during this summit, if I hold the control key down, it won't redock. It docked. I did it wrong. Let me try that again. Control. Grab this control. We're going to play it through once just so you can see the finished masterpiece. Oh my goodness, the docking. Okay. I think I got it. That's as best I'm going to get. Okay. Let's go ahead and play it through once.
Jingle bells, Batman.
What? Let me render it once. There we go.
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel and Joker got away. Hey, jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. The Batmobile lost the wheel and the Joker got away.
See? Oh, and I turned the strobes on too. I missed that part. But that's it. So basically, in an hour, we did a sequence, right? Now, it's not a great sequence, but you know what? I'm going to have it on my show this year, right? The little kids will love it. Nobody cares. You know, when Tombat George happens to be in my neighborhood and swings by, is that the one I'm going to throw up for him? No, but you know, I like it. It's in the show. So anyway, I think, and all of this is in the slides, right? So if you go in the slides, step by step, everything that's there, I tell you what group, the effects, and you know about where in the song it happens, and you can go and reconstruct this yourself. And once you've done that, you should feel pretty confident in being able to do your own song. So it kind of gives you a good transition if that's the way you know, way that you learn. Not everybody learns the same way. Again, the sequence is available for free. It's on listentourlights.com. Actually, right now I have it right there on the main page. If you download the zip file, everything you need is there, including the slides, including the song, the timings, the extra little Batman symbol, and you can walk through, or you can just import it, use it for your own. I don't care. The song is public domain, royalty free, so go nuts. Okay. So I believe that's everything I have, right? So it's not over until he falls. Just a couple of resources. This is my contact information, right? The main thing to remember to is listentourlights.com. That will get you to everything else. There's instructions, and then these are some extra resources that you can use. Okay, so that's everything I have. We're at 2:53. So I believe we got a couple minutes for questions. Easy questions, please. So moderator, host, could you please unmute people or allow them to unmute themselves?
I believe they already can.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. Okay, folks, easy questions. Like I said, I'm not an expert.
Hey, I'll
So,
throw
John,
one out.
Hey, John, I've got a question for you regarding your mega trees. I want to do something similar in my house because I've got a perfectly round real tree.
Yep.
How do you hang those?
Well, if you heard, we did it with a couple of trips to the ER, right?
Yeah, so that was the part. Okay, I came in.
Yeah,
late. Sorry.
Yeah, we had these big metal pole that we bought the 10-foot hoops from JR Mattos, and they're great, but we had some trouble getting into the trees. They're a lot taller than they look. They're about 30 feet high. So next year, and what I did is I basically took a piece of PVC about 8 inches long, which is the spacing I wanted, and hung them from those, put a metal loop on them, and then found a branch to hang it from. And that's why it looks really crappy in all the videos this year. Next year, what I'm going to do is those 10-foot sections come, I believe, in 8 parts. I'm going to essentially bungee cord those together because I was thinking like a yarmulke, and I had this nice netting above to kind of hold it in place. This year, I'm going to think headband. So I'm going to basically bungee cord those together so that I can just snap them around the tops of the trees and put them in section by section. And then I have J hooks that I'm going to hang them from. And wish me luck.
Thanks.
Hopefully no trips to the ER. I also had to get the neighbor girl to run in and get my wife because the ladder fell on me and I was hanging in the tree. That was fun. But I'm not good at that stuff.
Hey, John,
Yes, sir.
why don't you add a few other things to your display there, whether you actually have them in it, not like a few arches and a few things that other people have?
I'm actually thinking about that. You know, put in a few, like I was actually thinking about putting in a singing face that just kind of sits in the background so that if people wanted to use it, they could. The mega trees actually are similar to mega trees. The deer, if you have a display that you're using, I actually treat the deer a lot like arches. I pulled over the baby shark video that Doug did for the Inspire Light shows, and I loved how my deer looked on his arches. And so I actually programmed my deer to follow an arch pattern quite a bit. So,
Are you going
but
to add any high density props?
I have high density props. So I have 3 of these Ice Princess things in here. And I might add some others. But you know, some people are really into the sub modeling. I kind of go for the whole house because the way I look at it is when I have every single element doing its own thing, I actually have a hard time following it. It's kind of like, you know, when you're in a room where there's a conversation of 100 people, I can't hear a damn thing. If I'm talking, you know, if one person's talking, I hear it fine. So I try to make sure that there's a focus in the display, and that kind of leads me away from arch models. Also, you know, with all the snowflakes, it kind of turns into a big matrix. But yeah, you know, over time, you know, I plan on adding a few. You know, I got the matrix. I try to make it meld into the house like I have matrices, but they're the trunks of the trees. I was looking to replace some of these larger snowflakes with like mesmerizers. The big wreaths, I actually wanted to do that this year, but my daughters insisted they wanted to keep the wreaths. This big
Okay.
circle is the opposite of a high density display. That's DMX bracelets, right? So when that is glowing, that's the audience's bracelets and hats that are glowing with it. That's always fun too.
How do those compare to the Ice Queen snowflakes? Those are a little smaller, aren't they?
The Ice Queen, these guys,
Are those the Ice Queen?
yeah, these 3 are Ice
Oh,
Queens.
okay. I see them now.
Yeah.
They're kind of hidden back there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, they're 500 pixels each. Yep.
Yeah, I got 3 of them too.
And they are freaking heavy. So
Yeah,
we had
right.
we had a helper fall off the roof with one of those this year. I mean, he
Ouch.
saved the snowflake, but he ruined
Oh.
the gutter. Yeah, we'll bend it up. We bent it back. But he's okay.
Thank you.
He's okay. More questions.
Yeah, how do you get to all the different views of your house preview there? You're getting different angles and moving around. How do I do that in Ice?
All right. So what I did, and this is what it is. And look, if you come around to the back, there's even an Easter egg right there. See, listen to our lights. So what I did here is there's a couple steps. First of all, I have it in the slides actually. I anticipated your exact question. All
That I
right.
gave
So,
you. Yeah.
so what I did is using the Hover app, I went around, took a bunch of pictures of the house, submitted it, and they were able to give me a skip file, which I loaded into SketchUp. Using an evaluation version of the SketchUp, I went and added the textures, and it generated a .obj file along with some texturing, and then that I was able to suck into xLights. Okay,
Wow.
there's a couple of ways to do that, and the Hover people don't like to give the skip file, so you kind of have to turn the charm on a little bit. And then the trees and the bushes are actually also 3D objects. I used Blender to make those. Blender is a free 3D rendering software, which is not easy to use, but the tutorials get you through it really quick. And you know, and I was able to make these trees in probably about an hour, including the time watching the video. And then the yard, you can put in terrain now, thanks to Keith. And then the fence is just pictures, right? So I have the texture that they use for the these little roof things. I just used that for the fence and just moved it around. And
Careful,
worked out
that was
nice.
not Keith, it was Gil.
Gil. The really cool xLight guys that you should make sure you donate to, right? Those guys. The other thing that's really useful is under here, I have a ruler. See that? And it's spanning the 2-car garage. And my 2-car garage is 194.7 inches wide. And I told the ruler that, and then it can figure out how wide everything else is. So now I knew that I could fit this 12-inch snowflake in between the Ice Princesses, right? Because now my scaling is that accurate. So I don't do it so much for the visualization. I do it for the layout, so I know if I can fit a snowflake or not. And actually on the house, I actually have things in here for the next several years. They're just all turned off, right? So I got all my plants here, like for the roof, all of these guys are just deactivated, but they're actually there. How do I turn them on again? Where's that activate? Appearance? Yeah. See, I got 4 of these guys on the roof. As soon as I figure out how to keep them up there without causing mayhem in the neighborhood the first windy day, right? I'm thinking giant magnets, like 300-pound magnets, but we'll see, right? But you know, I have all of that in the display now, and basically each year it's just turning it on. So one time I sat down and figured out, okay, where if I could do everything I ever wanted to do, what would I do? And it's there. So
So cool.
okay.
Thank you. Thank you.